Okay, hello. Today I'm going to be doing a shading tutorial on Sai, or Paint Tool Sai. It's a very, well, probably not very common anymore, but it was when I was starting out on art. I'm going to be using this lovely boy, Timber, as a model. So one of the first things that I wanted to talk about when it comes to shading, at least digitally, this can vary when you're doing like traditional art. It depends on a bunch of other things and how you choose to shade, but at least for digital art, what I've learned is you don't want to ever use like fully black. It doesn't look bad, obviously, but I want to show you something else. Let's try preserve. No, clipping. Here we go. It's a dark blue, and it will help look more natural. See? That looks better, at least in my opinion. So, things about shading is you want to know like where your light source is. We use a light source symbolized by this yellow, and a shading source used by this blue. First off, for light and for shading, you can really use any color, as long as, you're using like this top chart. As long as it's a lighter color, it could be any color of the rainbow. You could do some cool stuff. But for generally, I like to try and use warmer colors for lighting if I can. It just helps it look more natural. For shading, I try and use, cooler colors. That's the same color, basically. Let's try and use, cooler colors. Pink is one of the ones that's kind of flippant. Green kind of can be. And another thing with lighting and shading is I recommend using complementary colors. So, obviously my go-to for lighting is yellow. So the complement of yellow is going to be this dark blue, because the opposite of yellow is blue. So basically, I want to recommend that you use just whatever the opposite is. You can use red, and the opposite of that is green. I know, Christmas colors, how on theme. But if you're unsure, you can always just Google it, and that's fine. Background obviously matters a lot in light, and you can also work on reflections and how light bounces off of things. I'm not going to be going over that today because I have not drawn in a very long time, and I am doing this pretty much purely for the class. So, yeah, we're just going to be doing a simple little drawing of our good old friend Timber. Now, I go to luminosity. You can do any of these really, besides, shade, because that'll do that. I'd play around with it. I use luminosity. It means light, basically. I tend to go low until I find something I'm happy with. Generally, about 20. And then below it, I will do shading.